Time, 4 o'clock.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Progressive. The Hemmons Cultural Center is launching its first full season since a major $14.4 million renovation with 9 shows scheduled so far and more possibly on the way. Audiences can expect a wide variety of entertainment from puppet theater and Juana and the Missing Mayan Book to live performances of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors and Shadow Dance by the Silhouettes. Authorities are investigating a shooting that took place early Sunday morning in the 400 block of Bowen Court. Officers responding around 3:18 a.m. after reports of gunfire, locating 2 adult males with injuries, one of them suffering from a gunshot wound. Both men were transported to local hospital for treatment. Preliminary details suggest the victims were in a vehicle on Sherman Avenue when an altercation with unknown pedestrians escalated, resulting in shots fired. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan.
Macy's lowest prices of the summer on furniture and mattresses are here, which means you'll find great July 4th deals now on beautiful home updates, like the 7-piece Whitburn outdoor dining set, $19.99. Customer favorites like the Radley sectional, now $21.79. And 20 to 65% off top mattress brands like Sealy. And with Macy's white glove delivery, we'll set it all up and whisk away all that packaging too. But hurry in. These summer deals are going on now at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play, but it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
From the pages of the Elgin newspapers of 100 years ago today, these are the headlines brought to you by the Elgin History Museum.
I am Tricia Grosser, and this is what was happening in Elgin 100 years ago, June 23rd. An Elgin Pageant of Progress, to be sponsored by the Elgin Motor Club. The entire proceeds to go towards a fund to ensure the Kane County motorcycle officers will be held sometime in July, T.J. Schmitz, president of the Motorists Organization, announced today. We interviewed members of the Merchants Association yesterday, and they are favorable to the plan, declared Mr. Schmitz. The presentation will be much on the same order as Styles and Smiles show brought here the past 2 years by the Rotary Club. There will not be any gambling or wheels of chance allowed. Every cent of money cleared on the pageant will be turned over to a fund to provide insurance for our county motorcycle patrolmen. As it is now, the patrolmen have to buy their own gasoline, uniforms, and in case of accident have to pay their own hospital bills. It isn't fair. Based on par with the officers of other nearby counties. The patrolmen themselves feel that they ought to have some protection against accident or death, stated Mr. Schmitz. With such a fund raised and in case of emergency, their families would be protected.
Elgin 100 years ago is a presentation of the Elgin History Museum. Be sure to visit the museum located at 360 Park Street in Elgin, open Wednesday through Saturdays 11 to 4. You can also listen to Elgin 100 years ago at www.elginhistory.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. A heat advisory is in effect for the listening area until midnight Monday night due to dangerously hot and humid conditions. Currently, it is 90 degrees with a slight or moderate thunderstorm. This afternoon, sunny with a high near 94, feeling like 103, and windy conditions with gusts up to 35 miles per hour. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Fitting in shouldn't be hard, whether in life, on the court, or in the classroom. At Elgin Community College, you could find your place alongside those expanding their horizons, exploring rewarding careers, and achieving their dreams. A place for doers, thinkers, and believers. At ECC, we see you, we believe in you, and you'll fit right in. Learn more at elgin.edu/belong.
Still getting around to that fix on your car? You got this. On eBay, you'll find millions of parts guaranteed to fit. Doesn't matter if it's a major engine repair or your first time swapping your windshield wipers. eBay has that small, loud, or quiet. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. But you already know that. eBay. Things, people, love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Hello, America, and good day to our friends around the world. This is a political talk show here on WRMN. That's WRMN 1410 AM and WRMN1410.com if you'd like to see any of the simulcasts that are going on through there. We've got the app. We've got the website itself, both for audio on there. You can find us on YouTube, where we stream live from there as well. All kinds of different ways to also interact with us. You can leave a comment. You can send us a message through email, info@WRMN1410.com. We've got the YouTube chat open as well, and we've got the text line, 505-926-1410, 505-926-1410, open for texting, and I also believe I opened it for calling as well. The normal phone lines, they're over there at the studio, but if you want to call into the show today, I think you can call into the 505-926-1410. What a weekend, everybody. My goodness, news after news after news of all kinds of different things, and we're going to get into really the big topic. We'll get into some of the other accusations of people and news for things. We'll check in on the Freedom Flotilla and a whole bunch of other things throughout the week. We'll get through all of that, especially because the big, beautiful bill is supposed to be getting through the Congress, ready to be signed on the 4th is what I was told it was going to be signed on, or at least what the goal was there. So we'll get into that a little bit more and some progress through it. But what I want to do is I want to talk about the U.S. Iranian conflict. And so I want to bring you up to speed about war powers, what the Constitution says, because there's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of impeachment this, and we need to do that, and this is over here. Well, this is one of those things that it will definitely show you who pays attention to what their candidates do, definitely shows you who actually does some of the, the initial war side of things that we've got, why we haven't really declared war on anything but terror over the last couple of decades, but we've been able to still attack everybody. So there's a lot of that we're going to go over. This right here is going to be a major bias check for some of you in this, because there's a lot of people that are screaming impeachment. There's a lot of people that are saying this is another expense, this is another forever war, this is not what we voted for. There's a lot of people that have major feelings about what's going on here in U.S.-Iran. And so we're going to talk about that. And to get you up to speed, 1953. No, I don't need to go as far back into the history. 1953, and the CIA essentially establishing a new government and another regime change that's there. You're going to see that this is yet another pattern of the next generation's tax dollars bombing the previous generation's tax dollars. It's the pattern that I've been picking up on this. Now that we have all of the information at our fingertips, it's really easy to start seeing patterns and kind of putting together facts. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I've got a big list of War Powers Act side of things going all the way back to at least the Vietnam War, which triggered us having the War Powers Act for everything. I checked in with the founding fathers on this as well. Alex, it's good to see you over there. I appreciate you watching us on the YouTube side. But so I checked in with the founding fathers, and I asked them really what was going on. I've got a library of the different writings and letters back and forth, so I consult that giant algorithm. And just like the Second Amendment argument, they didn't really have a lot to say about quick, immediate action. Now, the War Powers Act does restrain a lot of things and does kind of give time limits for things. But the founding fathers did not expect immediate day, hour, minute after minute exchanges, and from 1 minute being a negotiation to the next minute being at attacks and war and whatever else. So we won't go all the way back to 1950s, but we will go back to 1973 today. So that's what you are in store for today here on Apolitical Talk Show. We just want to make sure that we know where, I guess, like most things, we want to make sure that we understand the news as it is attached to the rest of the world. A lot of times we assume that headlines live in a vacuum, or stories live in a vacuum, where it's, oh my goodness, this thing had happened and we're going to jump on it and we're going to play both sides and we're going to put on the jersey and wear the hats and wave the flags because this one thing happened to this thing. Well, hold on a second. If you want to go into the different times that we have gone through, Gerald Ford, Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan, like every single president has had something with the War Powers Act. They've had it. They've done it. They've used it. And so those people that are decrying foul and, oh my goodness, this is impeachable, we need to go after them, and then this is... You have to look at how the rest of this act has been used. We have to go back and we have to look at Lebanon and Libya and Somalia and Haiti and Bosnia and Kosovo and Libya again and Syria and and Iran and Iran and Iraq and all of the other times it has been used over and over and over again. And at least this time, they're not using the war on terror. They're not using the Patriot Act. They're not using these other things that are here. And it always comes down to chemical response or counterterrorism or preventative measures. The most ironic ones is when it is peacekeeping. Bombing for peace. I love it. Handing out condoms for abstinence. And so we have to look at this in a lens of, if you are mad because the president is doing this, you have to be mad because the president can do this. And we're starting to see an ongoing trend of, really, we didn't think that the president would be able to do that. Oh my, the president can do that? Is this why it's changing? We're seeing that trend because drip by drip and law after law and interpretation after interpretation, we have slowly eroded the responsibilities of Congress over to the executive branch. And if you don't like the way that the president acts, first off, that's who got into the presidency. Don't like it. Don't like the way that the president acts. Don't vote for people that act like this. Simple as that. Same as any politician. The other side is, if you don't want that position, not that person, that position, because there's a lot of you that love it when it's your team in that position. But if you're mad that the position has this power, then that's where we actually need to change something and actually need to start looking at what the president can and cannot do. So stick around. This will be a War Powers resolution of 1973 that we're going over because, yes, if you want to find the news, there are plenty of places that are so eager to give you exactly what you want to hear, exactly right now, and they will give it to you there. Here on Apolitical Talk Show, we want to give you what you need to understand the context of what they're giving you. Stick around, more Apolitical Talk Show after this.
If you turned 65 recently like me, it's important you find a Medicare Advantage plan that gives you the coverage you're looking for. But finding one can be difficult. The best thing I did, and I suggest you do the same, is call a licensed insurance agent and let them walk you through your Medicare Advantage plan options. There are so many benefits you have access to, so make the call now and let the representatives explain everything to you. Our licensed insurance agents can offer you a variety of Medicare Advantage plans. Plus, the call is free, the information is free, and there's no obligation to enroll. We're here to make it easy for you to select a Medicare Advantage plan that may work for your needs. Finding a Medicare Advantage plan can be easy if you do what I did. Make a quick call right now to learn more. Thank you.
800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. 800-433-3082. That's 800-433-3082.
Searching for a financial partner that truly has your best interest at heart? Join KCT Credit Union, where they're more than just a bank. They're a not-for-profit financial cooperative. KCT members are owners, meaning profits go back to you in the form of lower loan rates, higher savings rates, and fewer fees. Experience personalized service that puts you first. Become a part of KCT, where your financial well-being is their top priority. Visit kctcu.org. Each account insured up to $250,000.
Listen this Sunday afternoon to Handle on the Law.
I know we're at an at-will date, but for making a comment, like, hey, your hair looks good. And then I got a call from HR saying, hey, you know what, you're under investigation. Do I have any recourse?
Were you fired?
No, not yet.
The problem, Eddie, is they can fire you for any reason they want. They literally can wake up in the morning and say, you know what, I'm a little bored this morning. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire Eddie for no reason. Yep, he can do that. Yeah, that's California. Yep, welcome.
It's Handle on the Law this Sunday afternoon from 4 to 7 right here on WRMN.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough. But if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to WRMN. This is a political talk show. It's a show for you and a show for me and a show for everyone that's out there in the political scene. We want to make sure that this forum is open for everybody. We want to make sure that everyone's thoughts can be heard, and we don't push anybody out of the conversation. There's a lot of times where we'll talk about politics or we'll talk about something that's this heated in the news, and it ends up being just a shouting match of this and that, and it always ends up honestly coming into just a both sides match. Can we keep score? Can we do this here? And I don't know. To me, it's discouraging when we start to lose the ability to exchange an idea or be able to communicate effectively. To me, we have to be able to do that just with our species, but we also have to be able to do that to maintain any core of a republic or a democracy or any kind of, I guess, politic that is based on the people, based on cooperation. You can put that in the economic system of capitalism or socialism or any of the other stuff. It's the cooperation that really drives it. I could be the king of whoever or exchange whatever I've got. Like, I've got, I don't know, a bunch of rocks in my yard. They're my new currency. Sure, you want to make your own currency, you want to do your own economic system within yourself. Sure, everybody's got Chuck E. Cheese tokens or tickets at a raffle or whatever other form of monetary what have you, but it all stems down to the person participating. Who is participating? If it's just you trading your own rocks with yourself, okay, do whatever you want to, man. Economic system or otherwise. And so when it comes to a lot of these things that are here, a lot of these things that's happening in the news with Iran and the attacks and everything, and we can go into the details of if it was effective, not effective. We're all waiting to see what happens. This is the problem with how quick we get information. Information trickles. It doesn't come in all at once in a story and in everything else. So the way that I like to do it is, as long as I have time, a few places, I'll look at it. I'll take a little peek. I'll look backwards. But I like to wait for, I guess the best way to put it is the bucket of information to kind of fill up a little bit. Yeah, you can sit there and wait for every single drop to come out of the thing and go, oh my goodness, this is here. But all you're doing is sitting there staring at drops. So wait a little bit, take a beat, get the overall, and honestly, it gives me a time to look backwards a little bit, which I like to do with you, is look backwards a little bit as the information comes in. That gives me some time to understand a few more of the context. Now, by all means, it's, I don't know, a slight ironic oxymoron that the only context that I'm going to get is more content. But I guess it's better than nothing. I wasn't around in 1973. Maybe some of you were. So you would have more context about where we have come since Vietnam, since 1973, since the War Powers Resolution. It was a critical junction in the constitutional balance of powers between the U.S. Congress and the President. Passed in the aftermath of the Vietnam War, the act was designed to reassert congressional authority over decisions to send U.S. forces into hostilities. The Vietnam War and the executive power expanse. In the early 1970s, the U.S. had been involved in Vietnam for nearly a decade without a formal declaration of war. President Johnson, President Nixon, expanded the U.S. involvement using the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution in 1964, which granted broad military powers without congressional oversight. Congress, frustrated with the lack of accountability, sought to reclaim its war-declaring authority, leading to the passage of the War Powers Resolution over Nixon's veto. That was Congress overriding a veto. That's how important this was for Congress to take over. By then, obviously, it wasn't as fractured as we are now, but it still was important that they had enough to override the veto. The key provisions, 1541, purpose and policy, the constitutional powers of the president as commander-in-chief to introduce United States armed forces into hostilities are exercised only pursuant to 1, a declaration of war, 2, specific statutory authorization, 3, a national emergency created by attack upon the United States. 1, 2, 3. They also need to consult with Congress. The president, in accordance with 1542, the president in every possible instance shall consult with Congress before introducing United States armed forces into hostilities. Now they talk about the 48 hours of notification. And we go into the 60 days of being somewhere, and now the 30 days of exit. 1543 of that same statute says the president shall submit within 48 hours a report to the Speaker of the House and President pro tempore of the Senate, detailing the circumstances necessitating the introduction of the United States armed forces. In 1544, within 60 calendar days, the president shall terminate any use of the United States Armed Forces unless the Congress has declared war or has enacted a specific authorization for such use. That's what the War Powers Act did. Declaration of war, specific statutory authorization, which again is from Congress, or a national emergency created by an attack upon the United States. So again, if you don't think this is justified, wait till I take you in the time machine. And so, should you be mad at the person for using the power like every single president before him since the War Powers Act came out? Or are you just mad at this guy? I just want you to be honest. It don't bother me either way. More Apolitical Talk Show coming up after this.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Progressive. Anderson Humane in South Elgin has launched a foster to adopt program offering families the chance to welcome a cat or dog into their home temporarily.
Hey everybody, it's the break. I want to shout out to the people on the YouTube side of things. Thank you for being over here, boss lady. Jeff's over here as well. Nasty Cold, I'm sorry, man. It's the changing of the seasons that are coming through. I think the only president I've ever seen that didn't have all the BS from the press, from all the directions, in my opinion, was John F. Kennedy. Yeah, the press loved John F. Kennedy. They were the Kennedys were the Barbies, the mascots of the presidency. Back before they became quarterbacks. I don't know. I wouldn't mind them being mascots again. I saw the man on the radio, so I thought I'd drop by and bug him a bit. Trump has been blowing off all that he's been doing since he got elected. Yeah, you know, I talked to somebody the other day who said they kept telling us that he was going to be a dictator and kept saying that he was going to be an authoritarian and all of this stuff. And I asked him, I said, well, has he done anything to tell you that he isn't going to be that way? And they had to think for a little bit. And so, I mean, I honestly don't like his way of doing things. I don't like the way that he flexes with the law. There are some people that justify the ends with the means, which is okay. If that's something that you want to do, but you have to be honest with yourself about that. You can't be law and order and then flex when a guy wants to flex a little bit. This is where being honest with your own political side, your own personal side, is way more powerful than saying whatever the party wants you to say. At least that's the way I look at it. Hey, I'll see you guys here in just a little bit. We've got about 90 seconds until we're live. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for watching.
American Eagle has an innovative program, Eagle Savings, that teaches your children to save while earning prizes and rewards. American Eagle offers great rates on certificates of deposit. My bank is located in South Elgin on Randall Road between the Target and Caputo's and is open Monday through Saturday. Give them a call at 847-742-7400 and a real person will answer the phone. American Eagle Bank, a place where you matter.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. A heat advisory is in effect until midnight tonight. This afternoon, sunny with a high near 94. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms after 9 p.m., partly cloudy with a low around 73. Tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms likely after 10 a.m., partly sunny with a high near 90. Currently, it is 91 with clear skies. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase.
I just paid hundreds for this flight and you can't even throw in internet? I'll just take the free pretzels.
Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale.
I'm just gonna sleep.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well.
I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
Hello, America, and good day to our friends around the world. It's the bottom of the hour, sitting here at 34 past. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of the show. Wake up, Fox Valley. The WRMN morning show, the flagship morning show, weekdays 6 to 9, hosted by Elliot L. Train Serrano and Susie C. Show delivers the latest local news, lively discussions, daily phone-ins, and even special segments like Fridays with the Finest. And they're doing another one where it's kind of like crime time, but they're counting the number of, I think, something about people getting, people having things in their cars in the parking lot. They've got a running total of things that you probably shouldn't keep in your car and just leave in the parking lot. Jump on in. It's a fun show. It starts at 6 in the morning and goes all the way to 9. And then at 9 o'clock, there is a fantastic community hour where we mix it up with a few different things, where it's Medicare made ABCD easy. It is Elgin history with Steve Thorin, music memories with him as well, Fridays with the Finest. We go over the events and the news here in the local Fox River Valley and the West Chicagoland area. So if you want to listen in the morning, it's fantastic. I know you guys are driving around now listening. 10 and 2, remember, keep your hands on the wheel. Unless you're holding down that one button to favorite WRMN. But tune in the morning. It's fantastic. It's a great time. It's really lively to get you up and moving. So check it out. Susie C. and Elliot Serrano both take over the morning and give you that wake-up jolt. Tune in, WRMN, 6 a.m. to 9, where we kick off the rest of the day from there. So let's get back into what we were talking about. We were talking about the War Powers Act of 1973. So, and if you want to get into the conversation, there's lots of people hopping in on chat, going back and forth. That again, yeah, this, if you think that this is abuse of the presidency, then you should not be mad at this person. And this is the issue with it, is there are so many different underlines that we have both sides about, right? Both sides this and both sides do that and both sides, oh, they're both. That's what a lot of these conversations devolve into. Is, again, just a back and forth of, oh, well, remember in 1984 that this thing here did that and that one person was. This goes back to why news doesn't live in a bubble. Your politics, or at least your history of politics, doesn't. What I encourage you is to find your own personal politics and then find the candidates that fit and align with that. Your personal politics. Not your pappy's politics, not your family's politics, not whatever somebody that said something on an internet thing once politics. Your personal politics. What do you believe? How do you think the government should work? I'll tell you how this one works, but you should know how you want the government to work, how you want the economic system to work. What are your goals and the way that you see the world? Now, there's a lot of people that think that it's a little too much. Oh my goodness, I don't know if I could use the right words, or I don't know what I can say here or there. Or my response to a lot of that is take it back down to how you would feel if you were on a desert island and you start inviting more and more people. Okay, how can we work with 5 people? How can we work with 10 people? 100 people? 300 people? 1,000? How do you envision people working together? How do you envision them making decisions? Grow the thought out. We can all think about how we would do it if we were king. That's easy. If I were king, I'd make this decision over here and we would do all of this way. Yeah, that's easy. Working together? Come on, that's hard. Telling me I gotta work with people I can't just tell them what to do. And that's where a lot of times we look at some of the people that are in charge and they don't have that mentality of let's work together to get something. They have that mentality of do what I say and everything will work okay. We talked about the War Powers Act specifically and the different things of the three components of it. Declaration of war from the Congress. Number 2 was the specific statutory authorization, which again comes from the Congress. Or 3, a national emergency created by an attack upon the United States. And I think this one is the one that everybody seems to lean on. A national emergency. There's a lot of times that we get into wars because there was an attack. There's a lot of times that attacks happen because of another attack. And that attack happened because of another attack, and attack, and attack, and attack. And the back and forth. And the inevitability that there will eventually be another attack, so long as there will always be another attack. An eye for an eye. But whose eye? Which eye? All eyes? And I'm sorry if I feel tired, but this has been most of my adult life. I've been to the area that we are bombing. I've been to the strait, through the strait that they're cutting off. And to think that we're going to continuously do this again and again and again and again. Change the name. Change the weapon. Change the country who strikes first because the other country is going to strike them. All attacks are inevitable if we all continue to attack. So where do we get the Constitution involved with this? Well, Article 1, Section 8 gives congressional powers. Congress holds the power to declare war, grant letters of marque and reprisal, and make rules concerning captures on land and water. That's all taken over. The declare war part was the most important part of that part. Article 2, which we discussed last week, gives the president his powers, their powers, rather. The president, quote, shall be commander-in-chief of the Army and the Navy of the United States. It's not that those are the two most important or that they are in alphabetical order. It is that those were the only two at the time. Presidents have historically viewed the resolution as an unconstitutional limitation on their executive authority. Courts have generally avoided ruling definitively on its constitutionality, citing political question doctrine. 1983, Lebanon. President Reagan deployed the Marines without congressional approval. Congress later authorized funding with restrictions. So, let's get into the nuts and bolts of it, everybody. This is questionable. I'm sorry, it is. It is something that has been happening and happening and happening, and the reason that the courts will not decide on it is because it keeps happening and happening and happening. Since enactment, the presidents have invoked or responded to the requirements during various military operations. Gerald Ford was the first one to use it in 1975. The justification, the rescue operation of a ship and its crew seized in Cambodia. The initial public support turned to criticism over the loss of 41 U.S. servicemen for a mission deemed unnecessary. The crew had already been released before the assault. The effect of it set the tone for the post-Vietnam military caution and highlighted the WPA reporting ambiguity. Jimmy Carter, 1980, the Iran hostage rescue. The justification for it was a rescue mission of 52 U.S. embassy hostages in Tehran. Nationalistic support initially, but harsh criticism followed by the operation's failure. Carter reported to Congress but avoided a direct WPA citation, led to increased scrutiny over the effective military planning. Because again, what constitutes an attack? We constantly get cyber attacks. We constantly get skirmishes. They are constantly funding terror. Am I supposed to take the act of giving $1 to a terrorist as attack? A monetary attack? A cyber attack? And again, if you want to be mad that the president can do this, be mad that the president can do this. There are plenty of things that we can pen to this presidency. We do not need to add other things that will just muddy the waters. Because for every one finger you point, there's 3 more pointed back, right? Is that how it goes? Ronald Reagan, again, like I said, in 1982 to 1984, U.S. Marines were deployed as peacekeepers. I like those. I like when it's deployed as peacekeepers, bombing for peace, stabilizing for peace. Stabilization effort amid a civil war in Lebanon. Bipartisan support waned after the 1983 Beirut barracks bombing killed 241 U.S. personnel. I'm only into 1980s. Are you seeing the pattern? Congress passed legislation limiting U.S. presence. 1983, Grenada. Justification to protect American students and restore order following a coup. That doesn't sound like attack. That doesn't sound like congressional authority. In response, public strongly supported the action. Some in Congress protested bypassing the WPA because none of that was part of the WPA. Reagan, however, reported he was consistent with the WPA, not pursuant to setting a controversial precedent. There was nothing that was there, and still No, it's okay. No, I did. I did follow the procedures. Well, no, you didn't. But there's not enough of us in Congress that are actually going to do anything about it. You see that pattern. Libya, 1986, justification, airstrikes in response to Libyan terrorism. Mixed public reaction, global criticism for civilian casualties, but it strengthened Reagan's image domestically, and Congress not consulted in advance. George H.W. Bush, Panama, 1989, justification, capture of Miguel Noriega, the protection of the U.S. lives. Generally positive public reaction, minimal congressional pushback. Again, no formal WPA invocation. Again, criticized for bypassing Congress. Gulf War, 1991. Liberate Kuwait from Iraqi occupation. Congressional authorization secured prior to major combat. Seen as a model of executive legislative cooperation, war powers intact. This is what it was designed for. Now, do you like that we did it? That's on you and me to say we probably should not have done that. Again, I was 6, so thanks for that. But they followed the rules. Congressional authorization secured prior to any major combat. 2 years later, Somalia, Bill Clinton. Justification, humanitarian aid mission turned combat operation. Black Hawk Down incident. Clinton drew down forces, questioned long-term U.S. military goals. The justification for Haiti, restore elected president. Public ambivalence, Congress largely uninvolved. Operation succeeded. WPA invoked in reports. So maybe they notified Congress and we were not notified. Bosnia, 1985, NATO peacekeeping effort, post-Dayton Accords, response from us, criticism over open-ended commitments. Clinton used consistent with WPA language. Lawsuits by Congress were dismissed. So again, if you want to point fingers at the president because of what he has used, then let us go. Now, I can't go backwards and impeach Clinton or Obama or Bush again or Jimmy Carter. So if this is something that you do not want the president to do, then make it to where no president can do it. Where did we leave off? Clinton? Well, let's get into Kosovo. 1999, humanitarian intervention against Serbian forces. Do you see a pattern of not hitting the 3? Not a declaration of war. Not specifically given permission by Congress. And not attacked. Not we're going to be attacked. Not this side that just seems to say, you know what, we have to strike first. That's like me sitting down next to you in the park, pulling out an apple, pulling out a knife, and you coming over and punching me in the face. All because I had the ability to attack you. But I did not. Maybe I said some things. Maybe I looked at you the wrong way. But you attacked me. Do you see this? There's no Minority Report for war. Let's stick to what we all have agreed on, the law of the land. And if we're not going to follow the law of the land, then what are we doing here? It's frustrating to be able to compile this list of president after president after president who will not follow the law, and a Congress too weak and too locked up to do anything. And yes, you want to complain about this president? Sure. But there's a bone to pick with every single one of them. And until we start looking at the actual position itself, how could we possibly know who should fill it? Afghanistan, 2001, Iraq in 2003, responding to 9/11 and alleged WMDs. Initial unity because we had just been attacked. The Iraq War became highly controversial, still is highly controversial. War power debates shifted into long-term occupation. Libya, 2011, because Afghanistan and Iraq was long enough. You see this? What is it? Every 4 years we can't go? 3, 2, 3, another 4. But we had one. We had one that would go on forever, right? Libya, again, 2011. Prevent a massacre in Benghazi. NATO enforcement of UN mandate. That is a directive by the WPA. ISIS, Iraq, and Syria? No. Prevent regional collapse. Congressional hesitance to vote, and the public was mixed. Syrian airstrikes in 2017 and 2018. Who was the no-war president at that time? The same no-war president that's here now. Response to chemical weapons use. Congress not consulted. Reports filed post facto. And of course, the assassination of Soleimani in 2020. Joe Biden, more airstrikes in Syria and Somalia. I've been there, Somalia. And so, yet again, we get these airstrikes that we're going to go over in the next hour. Let me know what you think. Text us in 505-926-1410, 505-926-1410. I think it's also open for calls if you want to hop in on that as well. You're listening to A Political Talk Show. If you don't like what I'm talking about with politics, that's okay. At 6 o'clock, the White Sox will be on. And that's way better than this.
When your car is making a strange noise, no matter what it is, you can't just pretend it's not happening.
That's an interesting sound.
It's like your mental health. If you're struggling and feeling overwhelmed, it's important to do something about it. It can be as simple as talking to someone in your community, or just taking a deep, calming breath when you need it. Nice. For mental health resources, check out loveyourmindtoday.org. At loveyourmindtoday.org, you'll find information that may help you get through a tough time. Things like tips for dealing with stress, how to navigate difficulties like financial worries, anger, substance use, and more. You can also find real stories of how people navigated their own mental health challenges. Because once you start to address the problem, you can go so much further. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
Your hometown radio station since 1949. We are WRMN AM 1410, Elgin time, 5 o'clock.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Progressive. Authorities are investigating a shooting that took place early Sunday morning in the 400 block of Bowen Court. Officers responding around 3:18 a.m. after reports of gunfire, locating 2 adult males with injuries, one of them suffering from a gunshot wound. Both men were transported to local hospital for treatment. Preliminary details suggest the victims were in a vehicle on Sherman Avenue when an altercation with unknown pedestrians escalated, resulting in shots fired. The Hemmons Cultural Center is launching its first full season since a major $14.4 million renovation, with 9 shows scheduled so far and more possibly on the way. Audiences can expect a wide variety of entertainment, from puppet theater and Juana and the Missing Mayan Book to live performances of Fleetwood Mac's Rumors and Shadow Dance by the Silhouettes. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
From the pages of the Elgin newspapers of 100 years ago today, these are the headlines brought to you by the Elgin History Museum.
I am Tricia Grosser, and this is what was happening in Elgin 100 years ago, June 23rd. An Elgin Pageant of Progress, to be sponsored by the Elgin Motor Club. The entire proceeds to go towards a fund to ensure the Kane County motorcycle officers, will be held sometime in July, T.J. Schmitz, president of the Motorists Organization, announced today. We interviewed members of the Merchants Association yesterday, and they are favorable to the plan, declared Mr. Schmitz. The presentation will be much on the same order as Styles and Smiles show brought here the past 2 years by the Rotary Club. There will not be any gambling or wheels of chance allowed. Every cent of money cleared on the pageant will be turned over to a fund to provide insurance for our county motorcycle patrolmen. As it is now, the patrolmen have to buy their own gasoline, uniforms, and in case of accident have to pay their own hospital and doctor bills. It isn't fair, and the Elgin Motor Club would like to see Kane County's highway patrolmen placed on par with the officers of other nearby counties. The patrolmen themselves feel that they ought to have some protection against accident or death, stated Mr. Schmitz. With such a fund raised, and in case of emergency, their families would be protected.
Elgin 100 years ago is a presentation of the Elgin History Museum. Be sure to visit the museum located at 360 Park Street in Elgin, open Wednesday through Saturdays 11 to 4. You can also listen to Elgin 100 years ago at www.elginhistory.org.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. A heat advisory is in effect until midnight tonight. This afternoon, sunny with a high near 94. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms after 9 p.m., partly cloudy with a low around 73. Tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms likely after 10 a.m. Partly sunny with a high near 90. Currently, it is 91 with clear skies. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase.
I just paid hundreds for this flight, and you can't even throw in internet? I'll just take the free pretzels.
Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale.
I'm just gonna sleep.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well.
I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all.
Chicago defense attorney Mark Sheblo has co-authored the book titled DUI Jury Trial, which is a true story of a DUI case that he defended. The accused was an Illinois truck driver arrested for driving under the influence of alcohol. This book contains facts about the case from the date of the arrest up to the jury's verdict, and this nonfiction novel also includes the transcripts from the jury trial itself. The book DUI Jury Trial is now available on Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
I know we're at an at-will state, but for making a comment, like, hey, your hair looks good. And then I got a call from HR saying, hey, you know what? You're under investigation. Do I have any recourse?
Were you fired?
No, not yet.
The problem, Eddie, is they can fire you for any reason they want. They literally can wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I'm a little bored this morning. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to fire Eddie for no reason. Yep, he can do that. Yeah, that's California. Yep, welcome.
Handle on the Law. If you're injured and need a lawyer, go to handleonthelaw.com.
Hello, America, and good day to our friends around the world. This is a political talk show on WRMN. Simulcast live in a few different places. WRMN 1410 is on your AM dial in the Fox River Valley, just on the west side of the Chicagoland area. You can also find more simulcasts like the online stream at WRMN1410.com, where you can also click. Thank you for being here for WRMN, an apolitical talk show. You can also click on the WRMN 1410 AM link to our YouTube channel. Sorry for those on the radio. I didn't push the button. I'm broadcasting remotely, but we've been talking about the war powers of the president. Like most things that we talk about here on Apolitical Talk Show, we want to make sure that we're talking about the news in all of its connections, in as many different ways to look at context as possible. Because there's so much content, right? A content generator, influencer, right? There's so many different people that are out there, news-wise or other, that are just there to just be the first, be the loudest, be the I guess the most sensational. And we forget a lot of times that most of logic and history and politics isn't as flashy as everybody wants it to be. Now, I know it is a huge market, flashy politics. Huge market to where our politicians now are influencers and content generators. Not only stock traders, they're content generators. Because obviously they're able to influence the world with their legislation. Why wouldn't they be able to influence you with their videos? So when we talk about things like this, we want to make sure that everything is connected. that we're looking at everything from the foundations of the Constitution and the republic that we have here, and then looking at our own values of the world that we want to see. That's the civic responsibility that you and I have. Now, I shirk my responsibilities here or there. The boss lady will be able to tell you that. We all forget about the important things that we've got here or there or had to do or be a part of. And I understand if for a while you've shirked your responsibility of your civic side. You didn't want to do any more research. You wanted to keep voting for the same person, the same policies, letting the same trickle-down economics go through, voting whichever way because your parents voted and that parents voted before that. I get it. The generation that brought us the set it and forget it mentality thought that our democracy would stay on the setting of republic. What do you mean I overcooked the country? I had it set on republic. Is a way different way than the way that Benjamin Franklin put it. You'd have a country for as long as you can keep it. I guess we could have a republic or a country as long as we remember to check on it every once in a while. And so a lot of times I get it. I've gotten a lot of feedback on this where it sounds like it is a righteous lecture. Like, how dare you ever be as civically minded as me? And look, we all do it. We all check out. We all say, look, I don't want to know about that. I don't need to know the history of Rwanda. And I get it, Ted Cruz. I don't need to sit there and memorize population tables either. I understand. I feel you, Teddy. But we have to get to the point where we know enough to start recognizing patterns. When we know enough where we can start looking at where the inefficiencies are, not just in the dollar amounts that go out, but in the policies and the policy makers. So I get it. I understand. I love pushing a button and a thing just happens. But you and I both know that it doesn't do it like that every time, all the time, forever, perpetuity. So we have to check on it. We have to look at our laws. We have to make sure that our elected leaders are doing the things that they agreed that they were going to do. But here's the problem, is they like to hide the rules. They'll tell us how great they are. They'll tell us about how amazing it is and about how the new world will be great. And America will be first. And then it's the same things. That may be dressed in a different color. It may be more extreme, but it's the same things. And so what I want to talk about today is a timeline, the justification, the AUMF compared to the WPA, and UN and humanitarian law involving the Iranian situation we're in right now. And I want to give that to you because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to give you headlines. I want to give you something that is a little bit tighter. I want to give you something that is a little bit more contextual. I wanted to make sure I got that right word. But we want to make sure that we understand that it isn't just this. It isn't just this one thing. It isn't always just that one thing. It never is. No matter what headline you want to say, no matter what conflict, no matter what piece of news, it is never just that news. We have to look at all of it. I was pushing the WRMN morning show you need to check out. Starts at 6 in the morning every morning. Susie C. and Elliot Serrano, who got into the chat with us, who said they are tracking the number of gun arrests at the golf range in Naperville. I guess it is a reoccurring thing. They have an ongoing list that's over there. Where did he say that? Well, he said it on YouTube, where you can say things too. I've also got the text line open, 505-926-1410, and that is open for calls as well. I can bring you into this system here by calling that text line, 505-926-1410. We're going to take just a quick break while I reset everything, and we'll get into the timeline of the U.S. military action for things beginning on the 21st. And then we'll get into the justification and some more of the legal side of things. But I would really like to hear from all of you about this. So continue to jump in on chat. We'll talk back and forth during the breaks on that one. And call in or text in 505-926-1410, a political talk show here on WRMN. We'll be right back.
Are you suffering with anxiety, depression, PTSD, an eating disorder, or even a substance abuse problem? If it's causing problems at work or with your family, get help now at Insight Mental Health and Wellness.
Hey guys.
We can help and treat all types of depression and mental issues.
I see you over there on the YouTube side of things. Yeah, you know, Jeff, I'm tired of it, man. Mad as hell. Not going to take it anymore. I need a window and a high rise to shout out.
If you're suffering from any kind of anxiety, depression, PTSD, eating disorder, or even a substance abuse.
Hey, if you guys haven't liked and subscribed yet, at least hit that like button. Those of you that are on YouTube, I see you over there. Hit that like button. Let's get this thing generated at least. Especially if you've stayed for a little bit or you agree with what's going on. Well, at least you agree with the discussion of having one. At the end of the day, that's what we've got to have, is the communication. If we're all going to agree on the rules, we're all going to follow the rules, then we need to agree what the rules are and agree that these should be the rules. And that's where people call the Constitution that living document, because of us being able to manipulate it when we need to. But stick around for some more. We've still got a whole nother 40 minutes to hang out with each other. We're going to go into some of the laws for things, international and wise, and the risks that we're seeing over here. I'm also going to talk about the Straits of Hormuz, which I've been to, so I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So hey, stick around. We're back at about 60.
This is the Chef of Love, Chef Jannard, TV host and restaurateur. My grandparents harvested their land to sell food and share this overflowing bounty with our community. Grandma said, for every yam we pick, we give one away. In the world they cultivated, I love preparing and eating dinner with my family on Sundays. When our resources changed, food assistance programs sustained us. They gave me fuel to start my first culinary business at 16 years old, and inspiration to donate the extra food in my community. Through my life, I've developed an appetite to work with others to ensure everyone has access to the nutritious food we need to thrive. Together, we can help end hunger. Come on, join the movement with Feeding America by volunteering, donating, and advocating. Learn more at feedingamerica.org/act now.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Minutes past the hour here on WRMN. You're listening to A Political Talk Show. My name is Dennis Sonar Green. You can find A Political Talk Show a few different places out there in the world. Just search for it. A Political Talk Show has a podcast. You can find the logo over there. It's purple, says A Political Talk Show. Pretty generic, because that's the type of show we want to make sure that we give. Nutritional, generic politics. We're going to make politics apolitical if it kills us, right? I think it's the issue that a lot of us run into is we're so blinded by the jersey. We're so blinded by the person that we picked. It's almost like we collect politicians like fantasy cards. Right, you remember that? You remember collecting cards, baseball cards or athlete cards, which pick your sport. And so we wear our picks like a badge of honor, like we won as well. Regardless if the candidate's good or not. I mean, we just seem to, nope, that was my decision, and it was the best decision in the entire world, and we have to stick with it for the next 4 years or 6 years or 2 years or decades and decades and decades. And I think a lot of that is because a lot of us do not understand our actual politics of what we think the world should be like. And so I encourage you, dear listener or watcher, viewer, voyeur, to get out there and know your own political stance. Understand the words of democracy versus republic. Because I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that are in these parties that owned the name Republican and Democrat that are not these things. Now, they may fly the banner of it. They're not those things. And I think it is because the rest of us have kind of just forgotten what those two things are, a republic and a democracy, rather. But we understand the parties. And the parties themselves have created stereotypes for each other. Start slinging mud enough, you have to start singing the same song. Just gets easier. And so the same shrieking or the same yelling or the same racial profile or the same hair color or the same hat choice or the same voting patterns have all tried to fall into patterns, but we don't look at the patterns outside of the blue and the red. We never look at the patterns of presidents and Congress, or the patterns of our elected leaders, or the institutions that have presented these leaders to us. And so it's our own complacency that is going to get us. At a certain point, it's no longer I guess you could still blame the noose, but if I give you 30 years to tighten it without you removing your head, I don't know what other chances, or if it's truly the noose's fault. And so when we talk about this, when we talk about war, when we talk about the ongoing manufactured consent that these war hawks and this machine that so many rage against is doing, while we squabble on who is in the driver's seat, the train continues to roll down the track. And we all think it's us walking down the street. We can stop at any time. We can turn the corner. We can go backwards. The momentum in which we set sail on will continue. Trains, transportation, throw cars in there. But we all know that government moves slowly. And so the turmoil that we see here isn't, oh my goodness, this one vote that happened months ago. This is a pattern. And the problem is they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about the pattern. But I will. So let's talk about Operation Midnight Hammer. June 21st, in response to Iran's retaliation against Israel and the U.S. interest in the region, the President of the United States ordered preemptive strikes. June 22nd, the U.S. initiated Operation Midnight Hammer, B-2 bombers, and Tomahawk missiles. These sites, Fordo, Natanz, and Ifstan, I believe is how you pronounce them. Don't ask me to do it again. It won't be the same. They house centrifuge facilities, nuclear research centers, and IRGC command nodes. That's the Iranian Guard. The Pentagon confirmed the destruction of multiple critical infrastructure points. On the 23rd, the U.S. expanded the campaign, reportedly targeting Iranian radar and missile batteries in West Iran and near the Straits of Hormuz. U.S. bases in Qatar and Iraq were put on high alert following missile launches by Iran. I've been through the Straits of Hormuz. I've been to the Persian Gulf. I've sailed with Tomahawks in that area. It's already a scary place to be. I'll just let you know that right now. It's the reason I'm a war veteran. It's the reason I can join any of the other war groups or anything else. And in theater, nobody wants to be the first person to shoot. We got close. Back and forth. Ships, I don't know, 500 yards or so away from each other. that escalation, anybody who's actually there, anybody who actually is affected by escalation knows that de-escalation is always preferred. We'll talk about the justification and the strategic rationale for why, again, we are fighting. 29, soon to be 30 past. You're listening to WRMN.
With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan. Brought to you by Progressive. A fatal traffic crash occurred in Naperville late Saturday night at the intersection of Chicago Avenue and Naper Boulevard. Authorities say a blue 2024 Suzuki motorcycle collided with a gray 2024 VinFast SUV. The motorcycle operator, 26-year-old Dante Fields of Woodridge, was pronounced dead at the scene. Belgian man Rocky Amajar is being held without pretrial release in DuPage County after being charged with attempted first-degree murder, aggravated discharge of a firearm, aggravated stalking, and violating an order of protection. Authorities say he confronted his estranged wife in Naperville, threatened her, and fired a shot that narrowly missed her. Anderson Humane in South Elgin has launched a foster to adopt program offering families the chance to welcome a cat or dog into their home temporarily before committing to adoption. CEO Dean Daubert explains that this approach not only provides pets a break from the shelter life, but also opens up valuable space for other animals in need. With your 1410 WRMN News Flash, I'm Sean Kernan.
Macy's lowest prices of the summer on furniture and mattresses are here, which means you'll find great July 4th deals now on beautiful home updates, like the 7-piece Whitburn outdoor dining set, $19.99. Customer favorites like the Radley sectional, now $21.79, and 20 to 65% off top mattress brands like Sealy. And with Macy's white glove delivery, we'll set it all up and whisk away all that packaging too. But hurry in, these summer deals are going on now at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters in auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
For nearly 50 years, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council and Kane Senior Council have been dedicated to serving seniors in DuPage and Kane counties. Established in 1975, the DuPage Senior Citizens Council is a volunteer-driven 501c3 non-for-profit organization committed to helping older adults live with dignity. From providing nutritious meals to offering support services, the Kane Senior Council is there every step of the way. With programs designed to enhance independence and quality of life, they're proud to make a difference in the lives of their senior neighbors. To learn more or to volunteer, visit them at 418B Airport Road in Elgin or head to their website at caneseniorcouncil.org. Give them a call at 630-338-0999. That's 630-338-0999. That's the Kane Senior Council, caring for seniors because they deserve to live with dignity and respect. Visit caneseniorcouncil.org or call 630-338-0999 today.
This is Sarah Silver with your Fox Valley forecast. Dangerously hot and humid conditions until midnight tonight. Tonight, a chance of showers and thunderstorms after 9 p.m. Partly cloudy with a low around 73. It feels like 99. Looking ahead to tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms likely after 10 a.m., partly sunny with a high near 90. Currently, it is 91 with clear skies. I'm Sarah Silver on the Talk of the Town, WRMN.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust Febreze car vent clips, featuring 3 distinct intensity settings, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing. Which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar! La, 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 la.
1410 AM is the dial. WRMN is the call sign. Elgin, Illinois is the city. You're listening to A Political Talk Show. Thank you very much for being here. Thanks for being a part of the show. Love the discussion that's going on over there on YouTube as well. If you want to jump in, make some new friends, some political friends, they're over there on that chat. If you want to make just some other friends in general, the stream actually begins at 6 in the morning with the WRMN Morning Show. That is with Susie C. and Elliot Serrano. Tune in for them. And they are on all the way up until 9 o'clock, where you have to get to work. Come on, you lazy bones. And then that's where the WRMN Community Hour kicks over. So those of you that are still in that morning routine and want to have a cup of coffee with some of us talking about the community and the things that are happening in the Fox River Valley, that's that 9 o'clock hour that's there. And join us through the rest of the day for Out to Lunch with Matt McNeil. He puts together a fantastic show all about the different dining and events and a little bit of table, that small talk type of side where it is pleasant to know like what type of day it is. Is it the hamburger day of the year, or is it give a friend a hug day type of side? Now, I'm not going to sit here and paint all roses for everything. It is very intellectual at times, but fun at all times. Out to Lunch with Matt McNeil, followed by What's Cooking Today with Mike Horn. Mike Horn puts on a fantastic show that is dining and a little bit of culture talk, where we then end up with Talk Time with Tammy and Friends from 2 to 4 most days, except for Fridays where Dino's Night Out takes over. All kinds of fun happening here on WRMN. 6 o'clock, usually after my show, I'm from 4 to 6, is also Big Top Sports when there's not a Sox game going on. But you can hear Derek Geyer, the ringmaster for Big Top Sports most of the time, on Out to Lunch. He pops in, gives us that sports update, especially when there's a Sox game like tonight. Miss anything? Head on over to YouTube. YouTube.com has the entire archive, everything that we are allowed to post. If it is missing something, send us a message, leave a comment. Let us know. That's my spiel. When we come back, let's get into the actual discussion. So we were talking about the U.S. involvement in Iran. So the B-2 bombers that hit the 3 sites, we're now into the justification side of things. We talked about the War Powers Act and how it needs to be justified in the history of that. And if you're angry at somebody using the War Powers Act now, then let's pick up a history book, at least over the last, 30, 40 years almost? My goodness. So the justification for this most recent attack of Iran was self-defense and the protection of allies. The administration claimed the strikes were in response to direct threats against U.S. personnel and infrastructure in the region, and in solidarity with Israel's right to self-defense. The other reason was deterrence of nuclear development. The U.S. intelligence assessed that Iran was on the verge of weaponizing its nuclear program, necessitating immediate disruption. We have heard about how Iran is on the verge of a nuclear weapon since 1992. They've been on the verge of a nuclear weapon program. there was a deal in place for no nuclear program. I would be remiss if I did not remind you that it was this current administration, or at least the leader of this current administration, who tore up that deal. Now, you can say it was a bad deal. You can say it was not far enough, but a deal was in place. And I know last week I played a 2-week montage of the president saying 2 weeks. But a new deal was what was promised before the old one was taken away. And so those of you that are saying, yes, it's all about the nuclear development and the deterrent and everything else, okay, if that's the case, then let's actually come to the table. Let's not, days before you're supposed to come to the table, bomb each other. A few days before Iranian representation was supposed to show up, they were bombed and killed. Before they sat down for this next bout, after Israel had fought, and Israel had attacked them, they said, okay, let's come to a table then. Then we bombed them. You can tell me until you are blue in the face that the administration, that the government, that Lockheed Martin, that BlackRock, that any of the other people that are hungry for this war don't want this war. You can tell me they don't want it. They can tell me they don't want it. Every action leading up to now tells me they want it. The other justification was stability in the global markets. With 20% of the global oil passing through the Straits of Hormuz, U.S. intervention aimed to deter further escalation that might jeopardize energy supplies. So the attack of the person who might do the thing and might cut off the thing, they attacked them first because they might do the thing. Do you know what they did immediately after they were attacked? Is they cut off the strait, the thing that they were using to justify not a... Do you see the circles? When your child is trying to tell you they did not take the cookies from the cookie jar with the crumbs still on their mouth, they will speak in circles over and over and over again. My problem is it's the same song. The only thing you are doing is saying the same song, because guess what happened to the last guy who sang this song? Nothing. Nothing happened to him. You know what happened to the guy who sang the song before that guy? Nothing. So what's it matter? And here's my issue with it. And I apologize for the vulgarity. But when I keep hearing the same old song, when you are trying to cover your butt with the same old song, to use the phrase of the Bloodhound Gang, all you're doing is farting with a Walkman on. If you think covering this up with the same song and dance, that's all you're doing. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing and hearing and hearing all about peace through strength. The next thing you're going to hear, freedom through slavery, condoms for abstinence, mutts for dog catchers. It's... Do you see it? Please, I cannot be the only one. I said earlier during the YouTube side of it when we were on a break, all I want to do is shout out a window. Mad as hell. Not going to take it anymore. Preliminary reports suggest that 50 Iranian military personnel were killed, with significant damage to uranium enrichment sites. Iranian allies, including Hezbollah and the militants of Iraq and Syria, threatened retaliation. We've also got cyber retaliation that is happening as well. The UN Human Rights Council criticized the strikes on dual-use facilities located near civilian zones. Under Article 2, Section 4 of the UN Charter prohibits the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity or political independence of any state. Geneva Convention, 1949, especially concerning the protection of civilians during conflict. If civilian casualties occurred or infrastructure essential to civilian survival is targeted, violations may have occurred. Protocol 1, additional to the Geneva Conventions, protection of civilian populations from indiscriminate attacks. Alleged U.S. and Israeli actions near hospitals, schools, or densely populated areas could breach these standards. And yes, Iranian. Make sure we add that in there. And if you do not like the calls that Gaza builds army bases under hospitals, please do not look at Israel. Customary international humanitarian law, the ICRC, mandates distinction, proportionality, and necessity. Evidence of strike without adequate distinction between military and civilian targets would be, quote, problematic. NATO allies are divided. The UK and France expressed support for deterring nuclear proliferation, while Germany and Turkey urged restraint and diplomatic engagement. Why does everybody want diplomatic engagement in this? Because, again, we do not need more conflict, especially in that region. The Straits of Hormuz. I want to talk about that for a little bit. I'm part of the Order of the Strait. I've been through it. We went at night to make sure that nobody saw us go in. Now, they knew that we were there, but we went through it. I don't want to give you any of the details. About did. It was fun. No, it wasn't. Straits of Hormuz is a narrow passage, about 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point. Connects the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman and the Arabian Sea. Its constrained geography makes it a classic maritime checkpoint. Any disruption, whether military, political, or environmental, can immediately and disproportionately affect global shipping flows. Remember, this was one of the reasons that they bombed, was to make sure that they didn't close this, because peace through strength. And I don't understand how a lot of you don't see that as just whipping my child until they listen to every single word I say. I don't know what kind of obedience or loyalty that you're looking for from these nations, at least. Roughly 1/5 of the world's total petroleum consumption passes through this strait. Let me say that again. 1/5 of the world's total petroleum consumption passes through this strait. We've recently decided to take over the top oil production here in the United States, in the essence of making sure that news doesn't live in a vacuum. For a while now, the United States has made more petroleum than any other nation on the planet. What do you think happens when roughly 1/5 of the world's petroleum consumption is at risk? Primary maritime route for crude oil exports, major producers such as Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and especially Iran, whose exports are uniquely constrained to the route. The liquefied natural gas, the LNG exports from Qatar, one of the largest LNG producers, also transit the strait. Hence, the strait functions as a bottleneck for global energy markets. Iran, which borders the northern side of the strait, has repeatedly asserted its capacity to disrupt traffic through a form of deterrence or coercive language. The United States and several allied navies regularly patrol the area to ensure freedom of navigation and deter Iranian interference. I was part of that in the Persian Gulf. I was also part of that in Somalia. But the potentials for asymmetric conflict using mines, fast attack craft, or missile systems further enhances its volatility and the cost of miscalculation. On the 22nd, the Iranian parliament passed a resolution to close the Straits of Hormuz in response to the U.S. airstrikes. Supertankers have altered routes or passed transit through the strait, reflecting heightened risk aversion following the strikes. Oil prices initially spiked, rising 7%, then partially retreated as Iran refrained from targeting infrastructure. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio publicly urged China to dissuade Iran from closing the strait. The same people that we are in a trade war with, the same people that we have been calling out, the same people that we say are eroding the very fabric of our economics here in the United States. The Secretary of State publicly urged China to dissuade Iran. Do you see how the news doesn't live in a vacuum? Do you see how things connect? Do you see how the chain of decisions affect the other chains? And I wish We had an administration that could look past 2 weeks. Foreign Secretary David Lammy called any unilateral discourse a monumental act of self-harm. China also appealed for the international diplomatic efforts to diffuse the tensions around the choke point. The non-state axis of resistance, talking about Hamas, the Houthis, and components of Iran's border or broader axis of resistance, they publicly pledged support and threatened the retaliation. So again, according to the justification of the first one, now they've got justification of another, and another, and another, and another, and another. Because they will always have justification for this. Hezbollah and Lebanon expressed unequivocally solidarity with Iran, as you would assume they would. Here's the other side of things, which Mehdi Hassan has put together a really good argument on this side of how this strength through peace only pushes Iran to want the bomb sooner. Do you know who doesn't have to go through all of these sanctions? Do you know who doesn't have to go through being invaded and bombed and everything else? Most powers with nukes. North Korea doesn't get invaded. Russia doesn't get bombed. China doesn't get bombed. Pakistan, India, Australia, European Union. Do you know who doesn't get attacked? Do you know who doesn't get B-2 bombed because they think they might have the bomb one day? People who already have the bomb. I don't know about you, but if you continuously beat me up over maybe one day buying a gun, well, let's punch him in the face. He might buy a gun one day. Well, he walked past that gun store. Let's punch him in the face again. Do you know what I think I'm going to get? Do you understand? I hate to use words like this, but do you understand how stupid you sound when you say peace through strength? I get it. I get talk loud and carry a big stick. Absolutely. But just to go around socking people in the face is juvenile. And all it does is breed more of this prison yard BS. Russia condemned the U.S. strikes and is now looking at supplying the nuclear assistance to Iran because of this. Do you see? Sometimes we don't need to always bring the gun to the knife fight, and the bazooka to the gunfight, and the tank to the bazooka fight. Do you see? My goodness. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of the show. I love to see you guys over there on YouTube. Why don't you stick around for a little bit? I'll say goodbye to all of you. Those of you on the AM dial, we've got the socks coming up literally at the top of the hour. Like as soon as the ID is over, it'll be the socks. So stick around.
Do you own an annuity, either fixed rate, indexed, or variable? Are you paying high fees and getting low returns? If so,
hey everybody on the YouTube side, thanks for hanging out with me. I appreciate it. Let me know what you think about the side and where everything is moving. For me, I think it's another pattern. I think it's another thing. It's another reason. It's another. Let's just have another reason to fight each other, or another reason to spend the money. It reminds a lot of 1984, where the purpose of the war wasn't to win it. The purpose of the war was to have a place that instead of giving us all a chance, or instead of putting the money back into our own country, they decide to blow it up. Value after value after value as it grows and rises, all gets blown up. Where's all this money going? Well, they literally light it on fire. And so I don't need to get all Chomsky on you. I don't need to do manufacturing consent. I don't need to get all of that side. But you see it. You see it. I see it. We've all lived through it. And the issue is that they're just going to keep playing the same card. Like I said, now that we're on YouTube, I can tell you. Now that it's the same song, they're covering their ass with the exact same song. There's a perfect Bloodhound Gang song with this. If you cover your ass with the same song, you might as well be farting with a Walkman on. That's what we're going to hear. We're going to hear the same stuff over and over and over again. The same justifications, the same enemies since 1992. And so that's what you get for voting for the same people since 1992. That's what we all get from 2001. Most of us weren't even there. At least as far as my generation, wasn't even able to vote yet. And here we go. 20, 30-year-old problems. Set it and forget it doesn't work anymore. Weak men make hard times. Thanks for listening to Apolitical Talk Show. Sorry to get too down on you there, but we have to be vigilant on what the actions are. The rhetoric, okay. Rhetoric, everybody can say things terribly. Everybody can say things nicely. It's the actions that we need to worry about. Till next time. Thanks, guys.